Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. Let's take a walk and go see what's in the fridge today. Alright guys, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. Look at this, this is a wax covered bottle. That usually means it's a high dollar piece of beer here. This was sent to me by Corey, so Corey, thanks a bunch for sending me this. I know this was not a cheap beer to buy. This is done by Southern Prohibition Brewing. They're out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. This is their bourbon barrel or bourbon whiskey barrel Abbey Quad, and this comes in at 9%. Not a lot of information on the label. You can see the front. It's got the girl in the barrel. It says Barrel Age Series Lazarus, and here it says got who brewed it, and the government warning and Barrel Age Lazarus Abbey Quad, Abbey Quadruple Aged in bourbon whiskey barrel, 9% alcohol by volume. And it's got SPB established in 2013 here. So Southern Prohibition Brewing is what the SPB stands for. And like I said, it's got a big thing of gold wax on top of the beer, which usually, signifies for a lot of these breweries it's a barrel-aged beer, and then it's an expensive beer usually. I wouldn't be afraid to say this is a $15 to $20 or not more bottle of beer, even though it's just a 9%er. You see somebody stand at the end of the bottling line, dipping every bottle that comes off of there in wax. That adds cost to the beer. Not a fan of it. I don't think the wax helps anything. A lot of people say, oh, it keeps the air from getting in. Well, I beg to differ. The beer is under carbonation. The beer is trying to get out. It's under carbonation. So if you got a good seal on your cap and the capping process is done right, the air is not going to get in. And I guess they're afraid that their capping process is not significant enough, so they dip it in wax just to seal everything up tight, just in case the cap is not on good. So, not a fan of the wax covered bottles. I've told you this before, guys. It just adds cost to the beer. And the bourbon barrel age beers are costly enough as it is, without having each bottle being hand dipped in some wax. So, just my 2 cents, just me. A lot of people like to see this. Oh yeah, that beer is going to keep for a long time. Well, if it's capped correctly, it's going to keep for a long time anyway. So it's just me. It's just me. It's just how I think. All right, let's get on with this one. We have no commercial description here on Rate Beer. Beer Advocate says retired. Said this beer is no longer being brewed. It's probably a one-time thing. That's why it says retired now. And it was added on their site in 6/27 of 15. So this may be a 2015 version of this beer. If it's brewed once or retired, this is a 2015 version that's been bourbon barrel aged. So I don't think it's probably going to be a tasty beer. I wouldn't be afraid to say that this is going to be a nice beer. And like I said earlier, I've got a feeling it was a pricey beer to buy. So once again, Corey, I do appreciate you spending your hard-earned money on this and paying and shipping it, packaging it up and shipping it to me. I do appreciate it, sir. So let's get on with this. There's nothing else we need to talk about. So while I carve on this wax and try to get the cap off, I will tell you the cheeses are buttery, brie, good Havarti Swiss. And the other cheeses are sharp Sharp blue cheddar, and the meat is beef smoked meat and game. Glassware the snifter. Tulip, oversized wine glass, goblet, or chalice. I'm using my favorite tulip glass here today, guys. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me about that glass. The Sauvin beer glass, S-A-U-V-I-N. And a lot of my subscribers have purchased this glass. It is not a cheap glass to buy. I think this glass is from the Pretentious Beer Company. It is around a $35 glass, which is not cheap. And but it is a very thick wall glass. It is my favorite glass. I did not buy it. I had a good friend of mine, Parrish, sent this to me a couple years ago as a present, and it has become my favorite glass, guys. As anybody that's been watching any of my reviews for the last couple of years, I use this glass on 90% of the beer reviews I do because it is such a thick wall glass, and it lets me get my big old nose down in there and brings out the flavors. This style of glass brings out the flavors in the beer. More aromas. Alright, let's see if we can get it out. Got it off. Got no wax down in there. I do have a few openers left, guys. If anybody's interested in it, let me know. Just a couple of t-shirts left. 2X, a couple 3X, and maybe a couple of mediums and some smalls. I'm not sure I got any mediums. I think it's this small. I need to get some ordered. Right into the glass we go. Doesn't seem to be pouring a very big head, so we'll stand the glass up and see what we get with a straight in pour. There we go. Yeah. Almost a finger of head on that pour. Over into the light. I'm not seeing a lot of light through the big bulb part, but there is some light coming through the thin part. Very mahogany-esque color. Deep red ruby color on the thin part down here, and I can see the light right through it. Looks pretty good. Let's get a nose on it. Big sweetness on the back end, a lot like a barley wine. Little bit of bourbon on there, but it's not overpowering the beer as far as the aroma. Smells very good. I love these bourbon barrel aged beers, guys, but they are a little on the pricey side, or it can be a little on the pricey side. Most of them are. That smells wonderful. A little bit of hints of some dark fruit in there. It smells a lot like a barley wine. It really does. Well, it's the final beer of the evening for me, so let's dive in and see what we've got. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Corey. Yeah, that's very, very pleasant. And like I said, I didn't see any kind of dating on it, and looking at what is written on Beer Advocate Rate Beer, it's a retired beer, and they've done it in 2015, and here we are in January of 2017, so it's been a year or so in the bottle, and it has aged very well. Wow, that's delicious. That is very, very good. 9%, not super boozy. Just a slight hint of the bourbon whiskey barrels that they've aged it in, but it is not overpowering the beer whatsoever. Maybe some hints of some dates, raisins, or figs in there too. Wow, I'm not getting, they're calling it a quadruple quad. I'm not getting any kind of Belgian yeast qualities or anything in the beer. I don't know what yeast variety they use or strain they use on this. I'm not getting a lot of Belgian, if they did use a Belgian yeast. I'm not getting that right now. But it's right out of the fridge, 40 degrees. So we're going to let it warm up, and might step out on the deck and hit a cigar while I'm letting it come up to room temperature. It's a nice warmer evening out here tonight in the upper 40s, near 50 degrees. Not too cold for a January evening. So let's let it warm up and come up to room temperature, see what we end up with on this, and then we'll come back and do the final chug. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. Very, very tasty beer. These bourbon barrel aged beers are very, very nice. And this one is very well done. But they only done it one time. And I don't understand why they didn't put a vintage on it. 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, whatever the year that was put in the bottle. Because they only did it one time, they was retired. And they could just as easily have put the vintage on there. And they did not. They chose not to. Even though it's a wax covered top, they should have put the vintage on there somewhere. Just me. That's just how I feel about it. So we'll know. This is a 2016 edition, a 2015 edition. And you'll know. It's got the 9% written on it. You know, well, I'm going to sell this for a year or two or 3 or 5 or whatever. And drink it then. Or if you've got deep pockets, you want to buy 2 and drink one now and drink one a couple years down the road. You'll know when it was done. So that's just the way I feel about these style of beers, guys. You know, the monthly would be nice, so we know whether it was done in January of 2015 or December of 2015. So you'll know exactly how old the beer is, but it's not critical. If they would just put 2015 on it, it would have been enough. And if you wanted to find out more information, you probably went to the website and found out exactly when it was done. A lot of times they put that information on there, and a lot of times they do not, especially on these brewed once beers. So, final chug on this one. Wonderful aroma on this beer. Awesome. Nice bourbon notes. Very nice slicing is left on the glass. Very tasty beer, guys. Corey, once again, my friend, I do appreciate you spending your hard-earned money on this and packaging it up and sending it to me. It was delicious. But still, if I've seen this on the shelf and not had a vintage or something on it, I'm not sure I would actually spend the duckies on this beer, because I don't think it's a cheap beer. I'm pretty sure he didn't tell me what he paid for this, and he might want to put that in the comments, how much this costs, but I'm pretty sure it's a 15 or plus bottle of beer. So very tasty. And if I had a little more information on the bottle than I have here, I would probably give it a little bit better grade. To me, guys, it's an A beer in a B bottle. So I'm gonna give it the B grade, the B plus grade, 7. Numeric rating on this, guys, would probably be an 89. It is very close to being an A beer if I had a little more information on the bottle. Even though the style doesn't require that, this beer is going to keep for a long time. But I would just like to know when it was put in the frickin' bottle. That's just me. That's just my OCD. Over to Beer Advocate, they say not enough scores, nobody's rated enough, and that's very hard for me to fathom that, because it's a 2015 edition. From what I'm gathering, it's not on the bottle anymore, and he did not tell me. But it's a retired beer, and they don't produce it anymore, so got a feeling it was a brewed once beer. Another reason why it should have a vintage on it somewhere. But it is very, very tasty. If you say, oh man, you're crazy, you shouldn't dock the points for this or that or the other. No, I can do what I want to. It's my beer review, and I want more information if I can get it. Especially on a brewed once beer or a retired beer. If you're only going to do it one time, put the vintage on it on this style of beer. So, and over to Rate Beer. Rate Beer has the same thing, no score. Not enough people have commented on this beer, so not sure what the distribution is on this beer from these guys, or what, because we don't have any ratings on either site for a beer that was done in 2015, I think. And here we are in January of 2017. So for our final check-in, we'll step over to Untapped, and they have it at 4.16, which is in their A category. Very nice. And I wouldn't argue with that guy, man. You know, oh, you're crazy. You should give it out an A. I probably should. But I want to see a vintage on this style of beer when it was put in the bottle. So Just me. It's just me, guys. So that's just my 2 cents. If you've had this one from Southern Prohibition Brewing, their barrel-aged Lazarus, let me know what you think of it. I thought it was damn tasty. A great beer for the final beer of the evening, which it is for me. Time to have some dinner. So come on back tomorrow. Let's dig something out of that fridge. See you then.